What's going on, everyone? Moose here, Airguns of Michigan, and today I'm gonna stick my 2 cents into a little bit of banter back and forth between some new guy and Matt Dubber, who I have an immense amount of respect for. So apparently some new guy that nobody's ever heard of, never been in any competitions that I can see, just kind of not making a lot of sense, reminds me of somebody that just has a lot of diarrhea of the mouth, was making some pretty horrendous comments, and you know, and personally attacking Dubber for, you know, what I believe is absolutely true. So the reason I decided to stick my 2 cents into this is I happened to be out at the range this morning, and some of my friends that I shoot with at our sportsman's club are out there, and I belong to one of the largest sportsman's club in the Midwest. It's got a boatload of members and people that are in every aspect of the gun world, whether it's just casual shooters or whether it's FFL holders, dealers, gunsmiths, gun makers, things like that. And it just so happened that I was sitting down with some flintlock guys this morning, you know, black powder guys, and one of them also shoots air guns, is a flintlock maker, and they were talking, you know, and I was just kind of sitting in the background out on the range. You know, we all just kind of stopped shooting, and he talked about making barrels. So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this, because this guy's probably close to 70, been making and is a well-known flintlock maker. Like, people from all over the world buy this guy's guns because of the quality of his work. So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna ask this guy about barrel making, and, you know, if you can have drifting in barrel making. And so I asked, and the first words out of his mouth were, oh yeah. He's like, you'd be surprised at how far you know, of drift you can get in a barrel. And I said, well, you know, so I told him the story. I said, well, you know, I got a buddy that saw a Lothar Walther that had a bunch of drift in it, and he said it happens all the time. He said, why do you think that long-range precision shooters will buy 10 barrels or 20 barrels at a time to be shooting them? Because almost all barrels have a little bit of drift. Some have an absorbent amount of drift. So I said, so what you're saying is when you take that bit and you drill into there, that bit can flex and move inside of that actual barrel when it's milling it out? He said, absolutely. And he said, you know, as much as, you know, most of the time we get really decent barrels, he said, you know, you can get some that are off like a ridiculous amount. And he said, you know, that's just the name of the game. You know, there's no way to you know, make them 100% precise all the way through. So I said, is that with all manufacturers? What about Lothar Walther? And he said, you know, you'd be surprised to see the scrap pile at Lothar Walther. Well, I got news for you, new guy. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to start shit with you, but dude, I'm going to take the word over a 70-year-old gunsmith that sells his guns at a global level because of the precision and the preciseness of his guns and how well he makes his barrels, that can absolutely happen. Drill bits can flex. They can drift. They will drift. No barrels are identical. If you look back through my videos, you'll actually see where I talk about, you know, you could have two guns, you could have two FX impacts, and they could be, I mean, the exact models. One is going to shoot pellets or slugs differently than the other. They're not going to be identical tunes. They're going to be damn close. But every barrel, no two barrels are identical. It's impossible. It's impossible to make those things perfectly identical where you could hand somebody a caliper and say, find me a difference. They will find you a difference. Doesn't matter. I mean, there are differences. They are machined parts. You know, tolerances are tolerances. So when you talked about FX barrels, those are within tolerance, right? Those are within tolerance. That's why we also make 216, 217, 218 pellets. You know, I'm just using those as an example. Or slugs, sorry, didn't mean to say pellets. Because some barrels like to shoot differently. So, I mean, I'm just saying, your idea that drill bits can't flex and they would snap is debunked. So, you know, I didn't take your word for it. I didn't take Matt's word for it. I went out and asked the expert, just so happened that I did, and that's what the expert said. So I'm going to take the word of an expert. And the word of an expert is, because I asked him about, you know, like the FXs, and he said, well, there's tolerances. There's certain tolerances. So, you know, just like with pellets, you know, that's why we weigh and sort pellets. You know, you buy, you know, 44 grain pellets for my 30 cal bench gun, and you got to sort them because they're that far off. Tolerances. It's acceptable. So, you know, just saying, you know, something else that, you know, you commented on about, you know, FX is not being that good. There sure was a hell of a lot of them on the podium at RMAC. All top 10. Like, I mean, I think there was, I think from what I heard, there was one raw. Outside that, the rest of them were FX airguns. So if FX sucks so bad, then why are we always on the podium? Why is FX always there? You know, listen, I mean, even my NRL gun, even my bench gun, you know, don't get me wrong. You know, I mean, I don't have any brand loyalty to FX, right? They don't sponsor me. They don't, you know, shit, as far as they're concerned, I'm a piece of shit who lets the cats out of the bag. I mean, that's just something that, you know, that happened through FX, you know, so I really don't have any brand loyalty to them. I don't think they actually like me. But, you know, at the end of the day, I can't find a gun to shoot better at the distances I need it to shoot consistently. So, you know, I'd love to see you show up to some bench rest competitions. I don't know where you live, but, you know, show up at some bench rest. Put them out like I do. You know, these are my local bench rests. You know, that was a 224 with 2 X's. You know, just got it hanging here. Unsorted pellets. FX Impact 30 cal. You know, go to your bench rest. Take your, I don't even remember what gun you said you had, but you know, take your gun and show everybody how accurate it is, even just at 100 yards. So till then, know what you're talking about before you go and open your mouth and run it and get shut down by a whole bunch of us, because none of us are buying what you're laying down. Till next time, my moose. This is Airguns of Michigan. Be good to each other. God bless.